Hey Stillwater, welcome to episode 41 of the Still Connect podcast, the show all about our amazing town, Stillwater, Oklahoma. This is your spot to plug in, hear some great stories, and feel a little more connected to our amazing community and the people in it. I'm your host, Denver Evans. I grew up right here in Stillwater, where I run my business, Stillwater Digital Marketing. Still Connect is a local podcast where every week I share friendly chats with someone who's helping build community here in Stillwater. Now, this podcast is crowdfunded, so if you want to help share these local stories, consider becoming a member on Patreon, where you can get a few perks like early access to episodes, sponsorship opportunities, and more. Speaking of which, I would like to thank our current business subscribers, Renovate Stillwater and Film in Oklahoma, as well as our Stillwater patron, Darren Huddleston. I'm very excited about today's episode. I'm here with Ruth Cavins, the Executive Director of the United Way of Payne County. How are you?
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is kind of a mouthful. Yep.
I'm doing great. Thanks for being here.
So give me kind of an overview of everything that you all do here.
Oh my gosh, everything. I don't think your podcast is long enough.
General overview.
Okay, very good. So United Way of Payne County is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We exist to support our community. Our mission is to improve the lives of individuals in Payne County by uniting resources. And unite is kind of that primary word.
Mm-hmm.
We unite. We do an annual campaign that raises, this year our campaign goal is $1,250,000.
Wow.
To support 22 local nonprofit organizations. Those dollars stay locally and go right back out to those organizations to aid in the programming and the work that they do throughout Payne County.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the year,
Yeah.
we are also raising money the rest of the year. But
Right.
we serve as kind of a hub for nonprofits in that we help support education and training of board members and nonprofit employees. We are keeping our finger on the pulse of the critical issues that are facing our community. So we partner with Spear School of Business to create a community status report, which is a document that includes statistics about the health and well-being of our community. Mm-hmm. We're also constantly, we have a pretty large board, about 41 members. 41 is the max number of members of our board. Oh, wow. So they represent our entire community. They come from, geographically, they come from our entire community. They work throughout our community. And they are our connection with helping people understand what United Way is and does, but also they're living in our community. So they're seeing what's happening in our community, and they bring that connection back to the decisions that we make at United Way.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So the United Way is kind of like a hub for, like you said, resources.
Right.
So resources are brought into United Way and then distributed. How does a nonprofit partner with the United Way?
We have an accreditation process, so there are some minimal requirements that an agency has to have before they're eligible. Okay. That accreditation is kind of our commitment to the community, that those agencies that become accredited are legitimate. They're operating at a high standard for nonprofit management, and they're meeting a critical need or multiple critical needs within our community. So any 501c3 nonprofit is eligible to apply for accreditation. We go through that process. When they become accredited, then they're eligible to apply for funding. They complete a grant application once a year. And that's a big process too. Again, this is our commitment to the community. We want to make sure that the money that we receive through our annual campaign and donations is being used to meet the most critical needs in our community. Right. And so the grant application includes a really long online grant application, but also we have a committee called a Community Investment Committee that they do site visits at each location every year. And then the agency comes into our office and they have to give a presentation to this committee of about 13 people. Yeah. And that committee really is looking at our community status report and the information we've gathered over the year of what are the most critical needs, what does our community need, and then they make funding decisions about how much money each of these agencies actually get.
So that was going to be my next question is, how do you decide how to break that up? Does it just...
It's hard.
Yeah, I imagine, because it's based on need. It's,
right.
It's probably based on the importance of the need that they're fulfilling.
For sure. And each one of these agencies the individuals that work at each one are just the most amazing humans. They work in these organizations because they truly believe in the mission, and whether that's adults with intellectual disabilities or abused children, or the whole gamut of the issues that our agencies are helping to support and maybe solve eventually. I don't know. These people are incredible. And that's probably my favorite part of this job, is that I get to work with those people. We meet about once a quarter and get together kind of in an informal way to support each other. And I've learned so much over the years of how passionate they are about their work and how selfless they are in that. And they are incredible leaders, because they have to bring people along. Each of them has a volunteer board of directors and volunteers that serve in their organizations. So these individuals are pretty special humans.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So what you said, you look at this report with Spear School of Business, or you helped develop the report with Spear School of Business.
Right.
What are some of the critical needs that we're facing in Stillwater right now?
There are issues that are not unique to Stillwater. I mean, I think that they're happening anywhere humans are. Poverty is significant. Just in itself, it is significant. Within Payne County, about 20% of our population is living in poverty. And that single statistic is an indicator of a lot of other things, because when somebody is living in poverty, they are not able to pay all of their bills in every month. That causes additional stress and strain. There can be mental health issues that contribute to and are part of, it's a chicken or an egg kind of a situation. We know that families that live in poverty are struggling to make ends meet. That stress can also lead to situations in their home that aren't safe for their children. There's just this gamut of things that you can't put your finger on a single problem, but poverty is a pretty big symptom. And so we've also learned recently, we are partnering with United for Alice, which is an initiative that started out of United Way Worldwide. It is a database that helps us identify individuals in our community that are struggling financially. So we know that the federal poverty level is defined. And so when I say poverty in our community is at about 20%, that is the federal poverty level. We know through this Alice research that there's also a section of our community that's almost 30% of the middle of our community that are Alice, asset limited, income constrained, employed. So basically, this is our working class. Again, they are employed, but they're not making a living wage. So they're not making enough money to be able to pay all of their bills in the same month. And this Alice research goes by zip code and shows within that zip code, what is that living wage? So it dials in really nicely to, it's not generalized. It's like, for this zip code, you can even get down to neighborhood. With the data. But it helps us understand that if you've got 20% living in poverty, and then you've got another almost 30% in Payne County that are in this Alice threshold, 50% of our community is struggling financially every single time. That's a bigger topic. And, just as I mentioned, when somebody is struggling financially, that's not the only struggle.
Of course.
There are lots and lots of factors. So the organizations that United Way supports, we have 22 agencies that are accredited and receiving funding. They are meeting the various needs that are associated with really just being a human. But they're so important to our community. They truly are this invisible safety net, because when you think about 50% of our community is struggling financially every single day, that means a medical incident or a car accident or even a flat tire can be the domino that is something that causes a much bigger issue for individuals and families. And I particularly am interested in children. That's kind of my niche of focus. And so these organizations exist to support anybody who needs them, but particularly this section of our community that is more vulnerable.
That makes sense. So when you talk about like a living wage, do you know what that number is for Stillwater?
I would have to get back to you.
Okay,
with it.
that's
I don't
fine.
have the
That's
numbers
fine.
off the top of my head, but it's higher than like the amount of money that you need to live in Stillwater in Payne County is higher than you would think.
That makes a lot of sense just because of like, who was I talking to the other day? I was talking to someone on the podcast. I think it was the mayor, and he was just talking about how essentially like our housing inventory is low, but also when it comes to like commercial property and things like that, we just have less competition.
Right.
And so when there's less competition, the price can be whatever a landlord says it's going to be or something like that. And so, there are a bunch of houses near campus that are very poor quality properties, but are considered, more valuable because of their location or something like that. So, and then recently there have just been so many people purchasing homes to convert them into short-term rentals that the market is just so high. I think I talked about it then, but my wife and I, when we were looking to buy our house, there was really low inventory at the time. There may be 25 houses in our price range, and most of them were overpriced houses that were, not the greatest quality. Right. But yeah, when you have a unique community like Stillwater, it's difficult to ensure that, the cost of living is low. I mean, how does one affect the cost of living in a community? Sure. It's not something you can just change on a dial.
Exactly. So. Yes, and there's so many blessings to living in a college community, but unfortunately, affordable housing is one of those things that has a big impact. But even, United Way of Payne County serves all of Payne County, and so, but we're seeing this across our entire county. Yeah. So, affordable housing, childcare is a huge issue. There are sections of our community that are a childcare desert, according to the U.S. Census. And so you have to travel farther to be able to find childcare. And then the cost of childcare and the quality of childcare are two really important factors.
Right.
So this ALICE data kind of has all of these metrics. It's like, what your groceries cost, what transportation costs, what housing costs, what it truly costs to exist as a human in a space, and helps us really reframe what poverty is, what poverty looks like. I think stereotypically people think of a visibly homeless person as somebody who's living in poverty. The reality is that 50% living in poverty. And so they're people that you work with, they're people that your kids go to school with, they're people at your church, sitting at a football game. You think about half of the people are struggling on a daily basis to make ends meet. That's significant, and that stress causes people to make choices they wouldn't normally make, to behave differently than they normally would. And so our nonprofit organizations, in their own respective areas of expertise, are supporting our entire community, one individual at a time, because they are aware of those extraneous circumstances and needs and issues of the individuals that they're serving, and they're doing a really good job doing it. I think nonprofit kind of is, I wouldn't say taken for granted, but because we have a very strong nonprofit community in Stillwater and in Payne County, there are issues and needs that are supported in a way that not every community has. I meet regularly with the State Association for United Ways in Oklahoma, and there are communities that are struggling because they don't have the kinds of supports that we do. They also don't have the generosity of individuals that we do. Yep. That is one of the biggest perks of living in this part of the world, is that people care and they're willing to put their dollars in to support organizations that are doing really important.
That's really great. Yeah, and I can imagine a lot of these families are struggling with the holidays coming up and things like that. So what are some ways that people can step in and support, whether that's financially or volunteer? Feel free to shout out any
Yeah.
any and all organizations? I know, like
For
you said, you
sure.
all work with a lot of them.
We do. So we partner with 22 accredited agencies here in Stillwater, but we also partner with a lot of nonprofits that aren't necessarily our accredited partners.
Yeah.
We are, a conduit in our community. We get phone calls every single day of people seeking support, and we help connect with our partner agencies, but also churches and other nonprofit organizations and just resources that are available. So if somebody wants to support, one of the easiest things to do is to donate financially.
Right.
Give money to United Way. Like I said, our commitment to our donors is that we have done the work. We've researched these organizations. We've created a portfolio, if you will, of agencies that are meeting really critical needs in our community, and those dollars stay locally. So giving a financial donation is great. We are in our annual campaign. Like I said, our goal is $1,250,000 this year, which is a significant increase.
Yeah.
From
so by the end
prior
of the year, that's your goal?
Yes.
Where are you all at right now as of
we
November 18th?
53% to our
53%.
goal.
All
Yes. So we have a ton of workplace campaigns going on, lots of businesses in our community that are supporting us in that way. They encourage their employees to a lot of times they'll have payroll deduction as an option.
Right.
A lot of companies will do a match, like a 1-to-1 match of employee dollars. They do fundraising events, those kinds of things. So it's not uncommon for us to be about 50% around Thanksgiving.
I assumed, that makes sense. I figured a lot of it comes in at the end of the year.
That idea doesn't make me any less rashy, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I never, ever want to just assume that we're going to meet our campaign goal, because it's not that easy. So we will continue to work very hard. So giving financially is the easiest way to support our nonprofit community. Volunteers. Every single one of these agencies has a volunteer board of directors, and they're looking for people who are compassionate, who are knowledgeable, have skills in all kinds of areas. And so if you have any interest in serving on a nonprofit board, you can actually give us a call and we'll help you get connected. Or you can reach out directly to those nonprofit organizations. A lot of people do a New Year's resolution about this time of the year. And giving back, being part of something that's larger than yourself is often an aspiration of a lot of people. This is a way to do it. Find a nonprofit board and put yourself out there. Ask how you can get involved. Some nonprofit organizations will have you serve on a committee before you serve on a board. Everybody kind of does it their own way. But it truly is a way to give your time and energy and your dollars. You should, if you are on a board, you should donate to that nonprofit organization.
Probably makes sense.
Yes. Know that you're going to be asked to be responsible for the overall financial health and well-being of the organization, that you're going to contribute to making sure that the organization is on task in meeting its mission. I'm going to say it's fun. It is fun to be on a board. The socialization, the connection with other people, the feeling of good that you get from doing something that's larger than yourself is amazing. There are also responsibilities.
Of course.
We are partnering with Stillwater Chamber of Commerce right now to create a course called Board Ready, which is a 3-hour training to help people understand what those expectations are. It's not going to be you're going to be, perfect at the end of this training, but it will tell you where you need to learn more. Right. And then helping to connect board members with nonprofit organizations in our community. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's great.
Most of our nonprofits also need volunteers to do their mission. So if you're not ready for a board commitment, you can volunteer a few hours of your time.
Yeah.
And
that's fantastic. So what are some things that people should know about Payne County or United Way of Payne County that they may not?
This organization has been here for more than 70 years, actually started in Cushing.
Wow.
Yes. The idea of United Way came from the community chest, which, and I heard this recently at a meeting that I attended, businesses are inundated all the time with requests to support nonprofit organizations. And so Community Chest, which is on the Monopoly board, came about as a way for a community to collaborate around supporting nonprofit organizations and helping businesses, because a business they can't support every request that they get. And so the idea that as a business, I'm going to give to this community chest, and those dollars are going to meet the greatest needs in our community. That is what United Way is.
Right.
And it's funny, I was at a meeting last week and I heard somebody say, I wish there was an organization that could take all of the donations and then distribute them where they needed to go. That's United Way.
Yep.
That concept expanded from businesses to individuals because individuals were feeling that same. So loosely, that's kind of the history of how United Way formed. Today, we're still doing that basic concept. There are 17 local United Ways in the state of Oklahoma. There are about 2,000 across the United States. So we are one of 17 independent local United Ways. Each one is a 501c3 with their own bylaws and structure, but we are all members of United Way worldwide. So overall structure gives us branding and marketing and lobbying and those kinds of things to allow our smaller organization to exist, to truly be able to adapt to the needs of the local community and raise dollars to support individuals where we live the way that makes sense for our community.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how long have you been involved?
I became the director here in 2019, so this is my 7th campaign, I think.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So what got you interested?
I kind of have nonprofit addiction.
Oh, yeah?
I started my career as a mental health counselor, actually in Chandler, Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
I was an LPC. And I did not know what I was doing, but I had a lot of people that surrounded me to help me. And it was a nonprofit organization that I worked for. So that was my first exposure to an organization that's not for profit, helping a community. And it's definitely different than a for-profit organization. Kind of fast forward, my husband and I lived here in Stillwater for him to get his master's degree, and we moved away to Cary, North Carolina. He went to NC State for his PhD.
Okay.
We had a baby when we left Stillwater, and we had 2 children when we came back to Stillwater for him to work at OSU as a professor. And Stillwater as a student versus Stillwater as a parent, really different communities.
I can imagine.
Yes. So I had in North Carolina, I had great experiences as a nanny for some great families that paid me to take their kids to amazing experiences, children's museums, zoos, cultural experiences.
Right.
And my background had been in psychology and sociology and especially early childhood development. And it just clicked. I'm like, this is amazing. And I felt so honored to be able to be with those kids in watching them experience things for the first time. And learning is magic. It's just really cool. So when we moved back here, I had to be in my bonnet to start a children's museum. And I found some other moms who had a similar idea and had actually started a couple years prior to me moving back to Stillwater. So we combined forces, and the Oklahoma Wondertorium is the children's museum that we ultimately developed. But it started with me holding a baby on my hip in my laundry room writing grant applications.
Yeah.
I was hired as the first director for the Oklahoma Wondertorium, and we operated as a museum without walls for 10 years before the actual museum opened.
Oh, wow.
And so it's probably been my favorite job. I loved that it connected with what is exciting to me in that early childhood development and supporting children and families. But it was also, it was play to learn for me as well, because I was learning how to build and operate a nonprofit organization from the ground up with zero prior knowledge. And so I got connected with Sarkees Foundation and Oklahoma Center for Nonprofits, and really just took tons and tons and tons of classes to learn how nonprofit management should happen, and had the opportunity to not only creatively have input on the exhibits and the programming of the museum, but also all the behind the scenes policies, procedures, how do you manage a board,
The fun stuff.
and then accounting and finance, and then human resources, because we had to hire people.
Oh, the most fun.
Yes. I really only wanted to work in the gift shop. That was my goal in the beginning. And I did get to work in the gift shop.
Yeah. Well, when you're in charge of hiring people, you get to decide who
That's
goes
right.
where, right? And
Yes.
I'm going to go to the gift shop.
Yeah. So all of that to say, I had a play to learn experience to understand how nonprofit management can be very effective. And then from there, I moved on to be the director at CASA for Kids, Court-Appointed Special Advocates. And that was an experience that was really not on my radar of, wow, this exists in our community. There are kids that are being removed from their homes due to abuse and neglect. They're living with in foster homes for years during this process. And then from there, I was asked to interview for the position here at United Way. And that kind of brought it all full circle.
Yeah.
Because in this role, I'm able to use what I know about nonprofit management to support and guide other nonprofit organizations.
Right.
And I know how hard it is to be in the trenches, to be working alongside families that are struggling, and to see real success in them being able to turn their lives around. So for me, again, nonprofit addiction.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
I mean, if you're going to be addicted to something, I feel like a nonprofit would be a better thing than most things.
Yeah. It's really frustrating. It is not an easy job.
Yeah.
Because the needs are great, but the people are amazing. The directors, the board members, the people who donate. Typically, people give money to nonprofit organizations because they believe in the mission of the organization, and or they believe in the people that are running it.
True.
And my experience in the Children's Museum, I am a tenacious worker. I will work and work and work and work and work. Ask my family. They very, very, very rarely see me.
Yeah.
But I realized in that endeavor, especially, that a single person physically cannot do this. And so my goal shifted to organizing people around a bigger mission. And there's incredible power in that.
Yeah, because that's how you multiply. That's how you scale.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's better to be a leader over a team of leaders than a leader over a few individuals.
Exactly.
So that's really great.
Yeah.
So what just are some of your favorite things about Stillwater?
Wow. We raised our kids here. It's been a great community. The school system truly has been amazing, especially our youngest son was in the band program.
Oh, yeah.
And just, it's neat to watch your kids figure out who they are and develop. And I am so grateful for the individual teachers and, band instructors who really had a big role in shaping my kids.
Yeah.
It's been neat to watch that. I recently got to go back to the Stillwater High School to do a little campaign rally for United Way. And I walked into the room and I knew these people, and they truly have shaped my kids. So I have a lot of appreciation for the work that they do. And I know that happens all over the United States, but Stillwater is the right size.
Yeah.
You have familiarity with a lot of people.
That was another thing from the interview with the mayors. He said, because they lived in St. Louis for, I think, 10 years. And he said, the thing we realized was, we like our kid's teacher, but we're never going to run into her at the grocery store. And so just having that level of familiarity of like, oh yeah, I'm going to see these people at church, or I'm going to see them, at the grocery store, or just wherever around town at community events, something like that. And so, I think Stillwater is a fantastic size.
It's great. I also love, at United Way, we have a pretty large board for nonprofit organizations. And we do that because we want to represent the whole community. But also, this is a huge amount of money to raise.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And we're doing it the old-fashioned way. And so I am so impressed that people are willing to do that.
Yeah.
that we have applications every year for new board members coming in. And when you get into that environment, you see that, there's a dean from OSU, and there's representation in our community that is accessible,
right,
in a way that you wouldn't think. You're sitting next to true leaders in our community, and you're welcomed, and they're bringing you alongside. That is an incredible thing that happens in our community, and something I'm very proud that United Way is able to help facilitate. We truly are helping to develop the next generation of leaders through volunteer service.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's really great. So what are some things about Stillwater that you kind of wish people would know or see? I'm sure as a nonprofit, you all deal with a lot of statistics.
Yes.
So I imagine kind of like when you were talking about the 50% of people, living in poverty, things like that.
Yeah.
Are there any other things that we as community members should know about Stillwater that maybe you don't see when you're just driving around town?
I would encourage you to look at the community status report, because it has statistics on all kinds of things: poverty, living wage, domestic violence, education levels, health and safety in our community. And it's interesting to see that compared to the state and compared to the national average. There are things, that we're better. There are things that we're not as good.
Yeah.
And
understandable.
It's easy to live in our community and drive to work every day and not understand that there are people suffering in our community. And I think that's what I want people to understand, is that you may be enjoying a great quality of life, but if you peel back the layers, for people living very close to you, they might not be experiencing that same level of enjoyment in life.
Yeah.
But there are very willing nonprofit organizations in our community that can be part of that person's life for even a short amount of time and make a significant change. So I think I want our community to just be aware of what's happening in our community. And I think that shapes the way that you respond, the way that you engage in social media, the way that you,
True.
the way that you behave around people. And understanding that you might have a level of privilege that is not enjoyed by everybody is a big piece of that.
Yeah, the way that people handle themselves on social media is kind of it's a whole thing, right? If you look on the community page, it will not take long for you to find negativity. It will not take long for you to find complaint. There's a fair bit of positivity, but I think people really undervalue how much harm they can do to local businesses and organizations through a few comments, because you might just hear something and then just that sticks in the back of your mind. And then maybe the next time you're thinking about where to eat, you know where you're not going to go because you heard that one thing one time, and whether it's true or not. But also on the other end of it, and I've talked about this a little bit before on some other episodes, it's free to like, it's free to share, it's free to comment. And the more engagement that you do with an account, the more that the platform is going to recommend that account that you interacted with to your friends and followers. So go like, follow, share United Way of Payne County's content, because then the people who you follow are going to see that. Absolutely. And so if you want to see change in the community, you need to share that or even just interact with it. And that just helps spread the message even in a small way. But we've had businesses before where we've, as our marketing business, have done interaction just with other local businesses, people in the community. And we had we have people all the time spend thousands of dollars with a business, whether it's a service business or retail or something like that. They'll spend all this money because we liked a post and they go, oh, hey, thanks for liking my post, or, send them a message when they started following or something like that. And like all of those little touch points matter. And I think it's really easy for people to undervalue their network. Yes. Because we all have a network. We all know, 20 people. Like everyone knows 20 people. Most people know hundreds or thousands of people, especially the longer you've been in a community. I mean, imagine how many people know you or Sure. And so we can all move people through our words and our actions. And I think we should consider, it is the time of giving around the holidays, but just in general, throughout every day of the year that we should be using all of our resources that we can, all of our community rapport to help the other half of our community.
Yes. And that's kind of represented in our board of directors. They each have their individual sphere of influence. We call it fundraising, but it's really friend-raising. You're more likely to make a donation to something if a friend asks you and they're very passionate about it. That's kind of like, it checks in your brain. It's right. I like this person and they think it's a good organization. So that feels better to give versus if you get a cold call from somebody to ask. And so, it's the same concept in real life with.
Well, it's the thing that you said right at the very beginning. People are more likely to give to an organization when they really believe in the mission or they really trust the people.
Right.
And so when it's your friend, you kind of have both of those.
Yes, absolutely. And it works.
Yeah.
I would also like our community to know that nonprofits are quiet and, generally kind of go under the radar, but they are contributing to our community in a lot of ways. So our 22 accredited partner agencies employ 465 people.
Wow.
Yes. So across the nation, nonprofit organizations contribute about 5% to the gross domestic product. So it's not just fluff.
Yeah.
They are legitimate businesses. They're not existing to make a profit.
Right.
They exist to serve our community and to serve individuals, but they're also businesses.
Yeah.
So I have been an advocate to increase the living wage for nonprofit employees. When you look at the ALICE data, you're going to see that a lot of people who are working in nonprofit are living in this ALICE sector. They are employed and they do have a regular salary and they have insurance, but they're not making enough money to pay all of their bills every month.
Right.
While they are doing incredible work to support other individuals.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that's the stigma, right? It's like if you're going to go work at a nonprofit or like in a church or something like that, it's like, you just know.
Yeah. You're not going to make as much money.
You're not going to make as much money. Yeah.
Yes.
And that is what it is. But yeah, that's really great that you're an advocate for that because we really should be focusing on supporting the people who are looking to support everyone else in the community.
Right.
And yeah, it just makes sense.
It does.
So yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for tuning in to Still Connect. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Ruth. Be sure to check out United Way of Payne County on all their social media, linked in the show notes below, as well as the podcast social for highlights, updates, and more. And be sure to share the podcast with all of your Stillwater friends so that we can grow the podcast and our community. If you love hearing Stillwater stories come to life, I would really appreciate your support on Patreon. For a subscription starting at as little as $5 a month, you can help grow the podcast, plus get early access to episodes, behind-the-scenes looks, and a shout-out on the show. Higher tiers let you submit questions for upcoming guests, receive podcast merch, and even appear on an episode yourself. Every bit of support helps grow this community and keeps local stories front and center. Together, we can keep Stillwater connected, one conversation at a time. Once again, I would like to thank our current business subscribers, Renovate Stillwater and Film in Oklahoma, as well as our Stillwater patron, Darren Huddleston. And remember, we all need community. So when life gets busy, make sure you still connect.